Hey everyone, no time for an introduction today. We got birthday cards to make. So we're going to be creating some quick, easy birthday cards to replenish our stash, and I'm going to be talking about creating a bunch of cards in one sitting and some of my tips and tricks to do that. I'm going to be using the Celebrate Blossoms brand new release that I came out with, but I'm going to talk about alternatives so that you know what to do if you're only using your stash today so that you can grab these ideas and craft along. But I'm also going to chat about my new release as well, so just keep that in mind. All right, so today we are going to get started by doing some die cutting. One of the things that I like to do if I'm going to be sitting down to create a bunch of cards is I will grab a few colors that all coordinate with each other. So I'm going to be using in today's video lilac, powder, which is a light blue, sprout, a light green, clementine, a light orange, and a light pink called carnation. All of these are Concord and Ninth colors, but you can use anything from your stash. And that's one of the things that I like to do to just eliminate the decision process throughout the card making process as I'm going through, is to just grab my colors and then get going. I never have to make that decision again throughout all of these cards. So I'm going to go ahead and I've die cut the happy birthday, and you can see that I'm using the frame to help line up my letters. Just makes things a lot easier than getting out a ruler and trying to get things all straight just by using the frame here. All right, so I'm going to add this 3 times to my card because 3 times is a charm, and I'm using powder, lilac, and clementine for this. This is a great color combination. And another thing I do is I will usually not only pick out my colors, but I'll die cut them in all the colors as well so that I can use these for future cards. And not only that, but I can pick and choose as I'm going along and just place them on my card to see what looks best. Oftentimes I'll throw in a neutral as well, like a white or a black sentiment or cardstock, just in case the colors just kind of get lost amongst each other. So that's card number 1 done already, so quick and easy, and you can easily do that with your own word dies or alphabet dies, but this is a really handy type of staple to have in your stash. And if you don't have one like that one already, check out my link in the description below. All right, so the next card is a really great balloon stamp and die set. Now, there are a lot of oval balloons out there, and I thought, what about creating like really round ones? I think those would look really cool. So this is a stencil die and stamp set. The stencil comes separately. If you don't want it, you don't have to grab it, but it just makes for really easy coloring. So you can go here with your ink blending tool and then you can easily just shade in your balloons. This also comes as a stamp, so you can stamp it as well if you prefer. But what I really love about using the stencil instead of just plain stamping it is that you can add sort of a gradient look. So going heavier on the bottom right, going lighter on the top left, you can create a really elegant look that you usually achieve with hours of coloring, but really just a couple seconds with ink blending. Because I got a little bit of ink on the top of the card, I decided to cut down my card panel. No big deal at all. It just means I have a wider frame on my card when it's done. And this stamp set's really cool because I have a whole bunch of different flowers and sentiments that you can stamp inside the balloon to make them really decorative and floral. And these are, again, really quick and easy. Simply stamp, ink blend with the stencil, and then stamp the sentiment in, and the cards are finished. So quick and easy. I just wanted to mention as well, you could also die cut these and then ink blend them so you don't have to worry about getting them on your cardstock. And I heat embossed these flowers and sentiment inside as well on this card. So that was just a quick alternative idea. Just wanted to show you that one as well. So I'm just going to grab my panel now. I'm going to take off the 3D foam tape and I'm just going to place this here, and you can see there's a nice even border around them. Again, a little thicker than before because I cut off the top of that base, but overall I love the look of it. Very clean and simple. Add some little jewels to it and you're all finished and ready to go. Next up, I'm going to be using a cover plate die. Now, I designed this cover plate die with the idea in mind that you could use it as a cover plate die in itself to create really cool backgrounds, but you could also just die cut these all in one shot out of one color and use all of the things that fall out of it, and you can create really cool collages. You could create little clusters and all sorts of things. I love to have little dies like this, but I hate when they come individually because it just takes forever to die cut everything. So I like the fact that you can one and done this, and you can do it in any amount of colors as you like and create a bunch of different cards. You can see once again, I'm taking that approach like I did in the first card and die cutting it out of several different colors so that I can just pick and choose as I go. Now, paper piecing is one of my absolute favorite things to do. It's very beginner friendly because you can simply just piece in all the different things here, and you can do this with so many different types of dies. And with this die here, you can also layer things up if you choose. So if you grab let's say an orange flower, you can place a purple flower on top, and just get two different colors out of it, like I'm doing here. You can create the insides of the flowers in a different color. It's just so much fun to go along and create with, and you can switch things up as you go. So when I do paper piecing, I always say piercing, but it's piecing. Paper piercing is a different technique. I like to try and ensure that no two colors are too close together or side by side, as best as it will work. Now, this is definitely a technique that takes a little while, but in all honesty, once you're finished, it's a very simple thing. You don't need any talent to do this technique at all. It's just really gluing, and then you can take all of these pieces and you can create several different cards with them. Or you can take them, like I said before, and just arrange them in a cluster on your card, and then you can just create really, really cool collages with the pieces. This, of course, makes the paper piecing technique a little less tedious, and there's no really rules to go about it. But I do know that some people tend to overthink collages a little bit and they get a little frustrated with them. So I wanted to show both options here to use this die set. So again, just try to keep light colors not side by side and you'll be all good to go. And when it comes to placing collages, I just did a whole video on how I go through the process of creating a collage in my Justine Hovey VIP. The link is below in the video description if you want to sign up and join us. All right, for this technique, I'm going to do some hot foiling. And just recently, I did a video last week on what to do if you don't have a hot foiling machine, and that is you can do heat embossing. I'll link to that video at the end of this video so that you can check that out if you're interested. So I'm going to go ahead and place my hot foil plates here. There's 2 of them in this set. They're very large, and I'm going to place them kind of slightly off the platform. I need to make sure though that they're going to fit through the die cutting machine, so just double check that before you get started. I'm going to place my foil over top. This way I'm just going to foil the corners of my card panel. So you can see I have the hot foil plates heating up right now. That green button is flashing, meaning it's not quite ready yet. I've placed my foil pretty side down. Then your cardstock goes directly on top, followed by the plates that come with the machine. So I have the regular plastic shim and I have it looks like a cutting plate. If you don't get a good impression, you may want to add a piece of cardstock to this just as a little shim to put more pressure on the hot foil plates, but I didn't have any issues here, but it just depends on the thickness of your cardstock and the type of cardstock that you're using. So I'm going to run this now through my die cutting machine and it's going to hot foil everything. To get good results with this, you want to place the platform and run it through your die cutting machine relatively slowly. You can go backwards as well if your die cutting machine hasn't kind of shook in place, if that makes sense. You do want to make sure that everything has stayed in place. Then it's simply a matter of removing everything. So I like to plug it back into the platform so that it starts to heat up again. So in case I'm creating another card, I can do that. I'm going to grab my cardstock and I'm just going to peel the hot foil away. And then you'll see that it hot foils just beautifully onto the cardstock. It's so shiny and just so much fun. So heat foiling to me is an easy technique because aside from letting your machine heat up, which takes about 2-3 minutes, and then heating up the hot foil plate, which takes about a minute, after that it goes super quick and easy, but it is a little bit more supply intensive, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink blend over top. So if you've heat embossed some flowers, which you can do from your stash, you can also do this technique. Both techniques, heat embossing and hot foiling, resist ink, so you can ink blend over the top. So I'm going to use here chiffon, samba, and seafoam is the colors that I chose for this one. I'm not going to ink blend too much on top of each other because I'm not 100% sure how these will blend nicely together, but I am going to just ink blend ever so slightly over top and see how it works. I'm not too concerned about getting a perfect blend because I'm going to grab a frame and I'm going to die cut this and just make the panel a little bit smaller. And I'm going to add this frame here to my card using some foam tape just to add a little bit of dimension to the card. So overall, I love this look. I think it's very, very pretty and elegant. Now in card number 1, we worked with these 2 dies before, the happy and the birthday, so I'm not going to show these being put together at all, but overall this is how I decided to arrange it on my card. And so once everything's glued down, you can add some embellishments here and there. I did little clusters of gold confetti, and I love the way that this turned out. I think it looks really beautiful. So here's a sneak peek of next week's video where I'm going to create even more inspiration with this collection, and I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial.